All right, good morning, traders. Today is July 21st, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room, which is the day trading service for hit and run candlesticks family. All right, let's go take a look at some charts. So actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the monologue. All right, so today is July 1st, 21st. Good morning, and again, thank you everybody out there in digital land, podcast land, cyberland. Thank you for following my content. Thank you for liking my content. Thank you, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, Bob Jordan, everybody. Thank you for leaving kind comments. Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing my content. All right, my SPY pivot this morning, 627.95 above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All of the Fab Five still in daily uptrend. SPY and QQQ made new all-time highs on Friday. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend and a week 10-minute uptrend. Okay, it was really consolidating over to the right, and it just wound up with the last candle flipping the 3 EMA up over the 8 EMA. Okay, so it was a weak 10-minute uptrend. I will look for continuation of that 10-minute uptrend, being since we have gapped up this morning. All right, IWM and Diamond Dow made higher lows and higher highs, closing inside bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. FNGU made an outside day. It's a higher high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Gold and silver both in daily uptrends. Gold made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. Silver, same thing. USO in a daily uptrend made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. UNG in a daily downtrend made an outside day. Okay, that's a higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. So it's in a downtrend, but not moving down. Big note there. All right, SPY US dollar index closed near the 98.48. US dollar still in a downtrend. We love that. SPY Max Pain for today, 626, with a put to call ratio of about 1 1/3 puts for each call that expires today. All right, you guys know that the stars usually signify grinder boxes, all right, that are chewing away an overhead supply, prepped for a launch, or they're building launch pads, all right, or grinder boxes. Either one, it's the same thing. All right, looking for a breakout on those, and some of them have already started breaking out Friday. All right, let's go take a look at some charts this morning. Let's take a look at the game plan first, so we can see SPY on the 10-minute chart. You can see just barely, mostly just consolidating over to the right. All right, you can see a 3 EMA up on top of the 8 EMA. That's the white line. So we got a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. I'm looking for a continuation of that 10-minute uptrend. Again, I want a green candle. All right, I don't want a topping wick candle. I don't want anything with a wick that, see, like this. If that was green, all right, it's got way more wick than body and tail. That's not a good candle for me. Okay, I don't want any red candles, because that shows me bearish control. I don't want any spinning tops or dojis, all right? Because that shows me bulls and bears agree on price. I want a clear sign that bulls want this product and they're willing to step in and buy it up, all right? That's what I'm looking for, all right? I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP, all right? I like 10-minute uptrends over the pivot. I like 10-minute downtrends under the pivot. All right, I like 10-minute uptrends that break the bullish rubber band candle. I like 10-minute downtrends that break the bearish rubber band, 10-minute rubber band candle. Okay, both of those are 10-minute rubber band candles. One's bullish, one's bearish. My normal point of interest for those rubber band candles is usually VWAP, which is this brown line right through here. Okay, so you can see price has moved up and over to the right. And then you can see this morning, we're back up there challenging the all-time highs early this morning. Again, I'm looking for a green candle. Okay, no topping wicks. All right, I don't want any red candles because that's bearish. No dojis, no spinning tops. All right, that's what I'm looking for this morning. All right, let's for an entry for a bullish call to the upside. Now I like calls. I like the calls that are expire on Friday, so either this Friday or next Friday. So that's going to be 4 days till expiration or 11 days till expiration. I like them on the multiple of 5, so for F630, I probably like the 635s, the 640, the 645s. Okay, I also like my options $5 to $15 out of the money. I like them out of the money because they are offer less risk. They don't give you the performance that a 0 DTE option would give you. All right, now I'm not against trading 0 DTE options. All right, if you got a small account, I don't think it's a smart decision, only because they offer a lot of volatility. All right, I would rather have something that moves, that gives you some performance. All right, and moves with the trend. Remember, we don't pick tops and bottoms. All right, we trade the trends. So I would look for something with a little more time. All right, as opposed to a 0. All right, if I'm just starting out an account, and I'd look for something that is cheaper. All right, that I'm not gonna put a lot up for risk. All right, so, and I like my options. My premium, my sweet spot for me is between 30 cents, actually, yeah, 30 cents and 80 cents. All right, but I like them 30 cents all the way up to $1.50. All right, that's what I like for options. All right, so there's SPY. So there's the game plan. You can see you got a green erases red entry over 629.15. The pivot is 627.95. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. A red erase is green entry under, that would be price under 626.65. Okay, so just saying, if I get a 10-minute uptrend that manifests or originates from down here, I'm still going to be interested in trading that 10-minute uptrend down here, even though I don't have a green erases red entry. All right, I'm still interested in a 10-minute uptrend, especially if it's up over VWAP and the pivot. All right, I would like that. I'm also interested in trading 10-minute downtrends that may happen to originate up here. All right, long before the red erases green entry. Again, I would like to see them break the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle or be below the pivot, and definitely be below VWAP. All right, now sometimes some of them are pullbacks to VWAP, which I'm not against trading those either. All right, so again, counter trend, probably not the wisest move with this bullish market. Market is very bullish. We're making new all-time highs. Okay, now my favorite trade, all right, is the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. All right, that's inside of a 2-hour uptrend, that's inside of a daily uptrend, that's inside a weekly uptrend, that's inside the monthly uptrend. Okay, and all of that's over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP or the current anchored VWAP, the current all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, either one. Okay, those are my favorite trades. That's my favorite. I like that trade because I got the energy from the 2-hour uptrend is there to support my 10-minute uptrend. The energy from the daily, the energy from the weekly, and the energy coming out of the monthly is all there to support my 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. So hence, that becomes one of my favorite trades, and I like it when all of that's over prior all-time high anchored VWAP. So you can see right there. There's SPY. Let's take a look at the 2-hour chart. All right, you can see the 3 EMAs up on top of the 8 EMA. So we have a 2-hour uptrend. Like to look at the daily chart and swoop over here. Okay, you can see we made new all-time highs. Okay, it doesn't get any more bullish than that. All right, you can see the 3 EMA up over the 8 EMA for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. But the last 17, 18 days, all right, you can see the 3 EMA has been up over the 8 EMA. And all of that trap is over the rising 17, okay? So that's bullish, all right? That's all bullish right there. Let's take a look at QQQ. Let's take a look at the game plan first. All right, QQQ game plan. Got a green erases red entry up over 563.05. Got the pivot 561.60. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Got the red erases green entry underneath 560.20. Price underneath there. Again, same thing. I'm interested in 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I'm interested in 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. I like a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP that's below the pivot and has broken the the rubber band candle on the 10-minute chart, and that would be the bearish rubber band candle. All right, so there's QQQ. I also like green erases red. I also like 10-minute uptrends. All right, that may happen to originate down here. All right, long before the green erases red candle or the green erases red entry. All right, I like 10-minute uptrends that are above the pivot. I like them when they break the bullish rubber band candle on the 10-minute chart. Again, the point of interest is usually going to be VWAP. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. So there's the QQQ game plan. Again, on QQQ, we got the kind of like almost the same scenario as SPY. I'd be looking for right out of the gate 10-minute candle, nothing with a topping wick. All right, something with way more wick than body and tail. It's going to show me bearish control. All right, I want something that shows me bullish control. I don't want any spinning tops or dojis because that tells me bulls and bears agree on the price. All right, and I don't want any red candles if I'm buying an uptrend because that shows me bearish control. All right, so that's what I'm looking for coming out of the gate this morning for QQQ. All right, let's take a look at the daily candle. And you can see here on the daily candle was a new all-time high. Okay, it's never been up this high before. All right, just drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, Diamond Dow puts in a higher low, higher high, closing inside or just over, actually inside of a bullish trap over the rising 17. That's bullish. It's up over the all-time high. We've got an uptrend right here. Got some lows. We got some higher lows. We got some highs. We got a higher high. So we're in an uptrend right now currently on Diamond Dow, and we're bullish because we're way up there in quadrant 4. And I'll just drag this across. Okay, up here at the top of quadrant 4 and in an uptrend that's bullish. Let's take a look at IWM. All right, IWM kind of got the same same thing going on. Okay, so you can see here's price action in the upper third, not quite quadrant 4, but in the upper third, that's bullish. All right, for IWM, price action up over that all-time high anchored VWAP, which would be right here. Okay, again in an uptrend, making here some lows, make some higher lows, got some highs here. There's a higher high. So that's an uptrend in the upper third. That's bullish. And in an uptrend, IWM. Let's take a look at FNGU. Okay, FNGU all-time high or prior all-time high was right there. And you can see price action is, let's try it one more time. I don't know why this one gives me difficulty. I'll get it here. Just bear with me. All right, right there. All right. Okay, you can see price has moved up and holding the higher ground. Okay, that's bullish. Okay, anytime you can get price to move up, all right, and hold the higher ground, that's bullish. It takes an incredible amount of energy to do that, all right? Going up and giving it up is very easy, okay? That's just neutral. When you want bullish, you want price moving up and holding the higher ground. See how price moves up, holds the higher ground, and then breaks out, all right? And you can see, here's price doing the same thing again. All right, it's been 5-6 days and they're not leaving the area, telling me they're committed to a possible another bullish move to the upside there on FNGU. Now we watch FNGU because it's got 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in the QQQ and the SPY. All right, so when those 10 move as a pack, they can drag the SPY and the QQQ right along with them. So there's FNGU and FNGU right there. Okay, so that's bullish in quadrant 4. All right, and it's still in an uptrend. Okay, because you've got a couple of lows, there's a higher low, couple of highs, there's a higher high. So it's still bullish and in an uptrend. FNGU. All right, let's take a look at some of the technicals here. Here's T2122, and boy, that sucks. I lost all my data. All right, you can see right here we're over the midpoint, so we were stuck inside the buy zone. All right, so stuck inside the buy zone on T2122. This would be our buy zone anywhere above 50, and we'll put in a line right here. This should be right at 50. I don't know what happened, but TC2000 lost everything that I had. So, not very nice. Not very happy. All right, with TC2000. Just this morning. Other than that, I really like it. All right, so we're in the buy zone mostly all the time, right there. All right, there's T2122. You can see we spent most of the day inside the buy zone. Okay, up here at 100, that would be overbought up there, and then there's a buy zone right through here. Okay, T2122, T2123, which is right here, 15-minute chart. You can see here's price action, new rally high made on Friday. Okay, new rally high up over the rising 200 SMA. It's in an uptrend because they're making there's a low, making some higher lows. There's a high, making a new rally high. So that's an uptrend on the 15-minute chart of T2123. Let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. Okay, you can see also in an uptrend, we got a low, we made a higher low. All right, we got a high there, we made a new rally high for T2123 on the 3-bar chart. Okay, all they got to do is get through all of this little consolidation here. It's probably going to take a little while, but you can see this high, this low, this high, this low. They got to cut through all of that, and then the only thing left for them is the all-time high way up here. All right, so that's T2123, 3-bar chart. Okay, now look at price action here, or data. Price moves up. Okay, price moves up and then holds the higher ground. Breaks out, holds the higher ground, breaks out, and it's now holding the higher ground. All of that is bullish, okay? Price moves up, holds the higher ground. Okay, as opposed to moving it up and then giving it up and more. All right? Moving up, giving it up is neutral. Okay, up, back, that's just neutral. Okay, up, back and more, that's bearish. Hence, see all the red 17 EMA dots right through there. All right, now we're green. So notice on this, price moved down and gave it up and more. All right, so that's bullish right through there. Okay, so we'll take a look at FNGU. All right, here's FNGU. Again, like I said, moving up, holding the higher ground, that's bullish right there. Okay, we're waffling back and forth across the 200 SMA for price action for Friday. Okay, we got some selling at the beginning of the day, and then the buying program took over right about 10:45 right there, and they bought it back up to close it over that 200 SMA. Again, they're moving up and consolidating up at the highs up here, okay, and holding that higher ground. That's very bullish. There's 15-minute chart of FNGU. Let's go take a look at a few sectors here. We'll start off with first sector. Let's take a look at XLE. And we'll put the quad lines on that. Lost all my stuff. Alright, and here we have XLE making higher lows, okay, and higher highs. So it's in an uptrend, alright, but notice they go up, alright, they go up and give it up. See, they go up and they give it up, and they go up and they give it up. So they just can't seem to hold that higher ground. Okay, they're not in the upper third. If they were up here, okay, in the upper third, that would be bullish. They're not in the lower third. If they were down here, okay, they'd be bearish. Okay, they're just kind of in the middle ground, stuck on the midpoint right through here, right in this area right here. All right, that's neutral. All right, neutral and in an uptrend. Not quite ready yet. Not proving they can hold the higher ground. You want to take them for a spin and you know, pick off the high. That's cool, but right now just can't seem to hold the higher ground. So, but in an uptrend, just in neutral area right now. Let's take a look at UNG. All right, UNG is kind of showing you a head and shoulders pattern. This be the triple top head. 1, 2, 3. Okay, triple top head. And of course, you've got a right shoulder, which will be this double top right there. A left shoulder be that double top right there. Okay, you can see price making lower highs. See, here's a high. There's a lower high, another lower high, another lower high. Okay, then we got some lows. There's a low, made a lower low. Here's an even lower low. Okay, so that puts them in a downtrend. Okay, on the past 5-7 days, they have not been moving down. Okay, instead of moving down, they've been moving up. All right, so we'll see what happens. Let's put the quad lines on there and take that off. And I kind of want to pull it out just a little more. Okay, so you can see here's price action for UNG, okay? They're in the lower third, so that makes them bearish, okay? Because they're down here in the lower third. That would be the lower third. Anything down here, that's bearish, all right? And they're still in a downtrend. Remember I showed you lower high, lower high, lower high. Here's some lows, there's a lower low, so they're still in a downtrend. If they take out this high right here, okay, they will negate the downtrend and convert an uptrend. Okay, keep in mind it's just a label. It's not going to mean much until they can hold the higher ground. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so let's take a look at what's next? Gold. All right, here's gold. All right, there's gold holding the higher ground up there. Okay, you can see that up there at quadrant 4, that's bullish, moving up, holding the higher ground. Okay, you can see price is in an uptrend. You got some lows, making some higher lows, and we're holding these all-time highs. As long as we don't break these lows, we'll stay in an uptrend, okay? If they happen to wipe out that low right there, okay, it'll be very easy to do. They'll be in a downtrend. Keep in mind, it's just a label. As long as they stay up here in the upper third, okay, they're still going to probably remain bullish in my eyes. All right, that's still bullish as long as they stay in the upper third. All right, let's take a look at silver, SLV. Silver in an uptrend, okay, way up here at the top of quadrant 4. Okay, that's a 12-year high for silver. Last time they were up this high was 12 years ago. Okay, you can see this high. And you look over to the left, the last time they were there was 2012, roughly 12, 13 years ago right there. So that's a 12-year high, all right, 13-year high on silver. Okay, we're making higher lows, higher highs. There's a higher high. That's bullish and in an uptrend. And look what price action is doing for you. Moving up, holding the higher ground. Moving up, holding the higher ground. Okay, that's a bullish environment. All right. When I get those bullish environments, if I want in on these, I'm looking for a bullish green candle, maybe on a 2-hour chart. Okay, something with no topping wicks, something that can, something that's not a doji or a spinning top. I want to see bullish control when I'm ready to jump in on silver. So there's silver on the daily chart. Let's take a look at SMH. Try it one more time. SMH. All right, SMH, new all-time high for SMH. All right, drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that. XLK, new all-time high for XLK. Drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that. Let's take a look at XLF. XLF got a higher low, a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. All right, up there in quadrant 4. All right, that's bullish. All right, up there in quadrant 4, bullish. Okay, in an uptrend, got some lows right here. Got some higher lows, got a couple of highs here. There's a higher high, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at IYT. IYT, bullish also and in an uptrend. Okay, price action for IYT up there in I'm going to call it the upper third, or up in quadrant 4. That's bullish up there. Again, you got some lows. You can see 3 higher lows right here. Got a couple of highs. There's a higher high. That's an uptrend. You're up there in quadrant 4. You're up over. You're in the upper third. Okay. So being in the upper third, you can see right here. All right. All of this area up here. This is the bullish area. All right, up there in the upper third. So it's bullish and in an uptrend for the transports. Let's take a look at tech data, the economic package for the dollar, still in a downtrend right here. So here's the U.S. dollar. It's a daily chart of the U.S. dollar. Okay, you can see on the daily chart, you can see the lower highs and the lower lows. You can see the low there, lower low. Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower low. Again, lower high and lower low. And we closed Sunday night right around right here, this area of 98.40, about 98.48 right there. Okay, for the U.S. dollar index. Okay, we like a cheap dollar. Cheap dollar, again, not great for us as consumers, because it means our money won't go as far as it used to go, all right? In other words, it got watered down. So it takes more of our dollars to buy what we want to buy. And when it comes to investing and stock picking, all right, it's good because it opens up new markets for all of our securities, okay? Especially those that have a global footprint. So anytime we got a weak dollar, it makes it easier for foreign countries, all right, to convert their currency to ours because it doesn't cost as much. When we have a rich dollar, it costs more. When we have a weak dollar, it doesn't cost as much, and therefore we can sell more of our goods and services, or we can become more competitive in the global market space when we're trying to sell our goods and services right inside, alongside others, all right, that are selling the same goods and services. All right, so there's dollar in a downtrend. Max pain for today, 626, and that's for the SPY options that expire, only that expire today. All right, that happens at 4:15. Index options expire at 4:15. Put to call ratio, 1 1/3 puts for each call that expires today. All right, on the economic calendar, we got leading indicators at 10. Tomorrow, we got Mr. Powell at 8:30 before the market opens. I don't know what he's going to say. We had some good data come out. He might talk about a rate cut. I'm not going to be surprised if he does talk about a rate cut. Again, we don't have any definition or answers yet on the tariff front. So I don't know what he's going to do at this time. He's been in the news recently quite often. I think there's a possibility he talks about tariffs. I think there's a possibility he talks about rate cuts. I'm just saying this could be something happening here on Tuesday. We'll see. All right. But Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index, 10 o'clock. Remember, Mr. Powell speaks tomorrow at 8:30. Mr. Trump has been pushing for a rate cut, and Mr. Powell's probably been holding off due to Mr. Trump's tariffs. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, Treasury buyback at 11 o'clock on Wednesday. MBA mortgage applications at 7. Existing home sales at 10. Atlanta Fed business inflation expectations at 10. A petroleum report at 10:30. On Thursday is going to be a busier day. We'll discuss that later on. Nothing big. I think the biggest thing that's happening this week, all right, is probably going to be the jobless claims and Mr. Powell speaking. Other than that, if he brings up tariffs and rate cuts, that'll be important. Now, lately he's been kind of silent, but last week we had some pretty good numbers come out. All right, so I don't know what's going to happen now. All right, I would expect him to wait for the Fed meeting and discuss it then. But who knows what will happen? Maybe there's an emergency meeting we don't know about. Maybe they're going to announce a rate cut. We'll see what happens. So that's Tuesday, July 22nd. All right, that's tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. All right, let's take a look at the earnings front. Oh, we got some big boys reporting this week. All right, keep your britches on. Got some main events coming on Wednesday. Alphabet, both of them, which represents about $4 trillion right there. Okay. On Monday, what do we got? We got Verizon, $172 billion. They're going to report. All right. In the morning. Other than that, some familiar names, nothing that's going to move the markets. Tuesday, SAP, $379 billion. They're going to report in the evening. Coca-Cola, $303 billion in the morning. Philip Morris, $278 billion in the morning. RTX, I think that's defense, $202 billion in the morning. Texas Instruments, that's tech. That'll be tonight. All right, tomorrow night. With SAP, $196 billion. Intuitive Surgical, $185 billion. They're going to report in the evening with the tech. Donair Corporation, $139 billion. They're going to report in the morning. Chubb, $110 billion. They're going to report in the evening. Lockheed Martin, that's defense. That's $109 billion. they're going to report in the morning. So defense reporting in the morning, along with some retail coke, and we got tech reporting in the evening. Wednesday, big day. This will be the main event right here. Wednesday, this will move the markets right here. Okay, you got almost $4.5 trillion between the two alphabets right here. Going to report Wednesday evening. Tesla, $1 trillion. Okay, so that's 4.5 trillion plus another trillion on Tesla is also going to report in the evening. IBM, 265 billion. They're going to report alongside tech. T-Mobile, 257 alongside tech. Now, ServiceNow, 199 billion. They're going to report alongside tech. All right. AT&T, 193 billion. They're going to report in the morning. All right. Everybody else is in the evening. You can see up there. GE Veranova, not sure what that is. All right. 156 billion. They're going to report in the morning. Thermo Fisher, 156 billion in the morning. NextEra Energy, 156 billion in the morning. And then we've got Boston Scientific, 153 billion in the morning. Amphenol, 124 billion in the morning. CME Group, about 100 billion right there in the morning. On Thursday, 153 billion on Honeywell in the morning. Total Energies, 138 billion in the morning. Union Pacific, that would be transports, that would be freight, like the railroads. 135 billion in the morning on Thursday. Blackstone, 125 billion in the morning. Okay, so everything that matters is going to report in the morning on Thursday. Remember, the big boys report Wednesday night. Okay, that's those two alphabets and that Tesla. Okay, on Friday, what do we got on Friday? Carl Icahn's business, I think that's ICIC. If he's ready, all right, he'll report. That's 118 billion right there. Okay, so big market cap reporting Wednesday night. All right, I'll take questions in the room. All right, if there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and render this video and get it out for the general public. Powell makes for a slow day today. Yes, probably more consolidation up near the highs. We're waiting for him to give us a rate cut. I agree. Yeah, probably going to be more consolidation into his speech at 8:30 in the morning. And who knows what he'll do. It might be just a nothing burger. All right? Just be prepared. Again, his job is to curb inflation, and the data's looking good. But you all know when we put tariffs on stuff that we're going to import, who pays the tariffs? You and me. And what does that do? That causes artificial inflation. All right? So I don't know what he's going to say, but I don't know if I haven't heard any the tariff news saying they're done with tariffs. So we'll see what happens. It should be interesting. I think it might be a nothing burger. All right? We'll see. Hey, thanks, Jim. All right, I'll see you guys in about 40 minutes. We'll open up the markets.